Okay, we're recording.
So, anyways, just the place to start is to state your name. And
The Christian name is Rudolph Schwartz, but everybody refers to me as Rudy.
And I guess let's start at the beginning. If you can give us some history of where you grew up and your pre-military life.
Okay. Brooklyn, New York, the home of the Dodgers in those days, who won a number of pennants. A local product all the way through. City College of New York, master's degree at NYU. Then comes 1951, the Korean War. The draft boards are breathing down our necks. And the question was, well, if the country demands that I go into the army, if I die in Korea, that's what the fate is. But my friends and I examined every option that we could, and then we found out in 1952, if you joined the U.S. Naval Reserve with a provision that if you passed the test, you would go to officer candidate school in the Navy in Newport, Rhode Island. So 3 of us applied, all 3 of us passed the test. I passed the test easily, but there was a question about whether my teeth met their specifications. So the senior dentist overruled the junior dentist and allowed me to participate in that program. So in 1952, we went to Newport, Rhode Island. Halfway through the program, there was a question, well, did the Navy think I would make a good naval officer? Did I think I would make a good naval officer? I decided that this gunnery work and navigation work was really not my forte. Now, the option that you had was, if you served as an officer, you had a 4-year obligation. If you served as an enlisted man, you had a 2-year obligation. So that was one thing that argued for the latter. So what essentially happened was that halfway through, they asked me if I wanted to continue, and I said no. So at that point, if I had gone a week or 2 more, I would not have gone to boot camp. But I was short 1 or 2 weeks, so I went down to Bainbridge, Maryland. I had to go all through boot camp. And then...
Now you already had your college degree,
yeah,
and your master's degree.
Yeah, well, I actually I had not completed a paper to get a master's degree in public administration. Subsequently, I got a master's degree in education and a doctorate in education. That was after the fact.
Okay.
But in effect, I had a bachelor's degree and all but the final paper for a master's degree in public administration.
So you went down to boot camp.
Went down to boot camp, finished boot camp, and then was assigned to the Franklin D, Roosevelt, otherwise referred to as CBA 42. The Roosevelt, I learned after doing a lot of research for this, which I didn't realize at the time, was a very important ship. It was conceived in 1942, was launched at the Brooklyn Navy Yard in 1945. What I didn't learn until yesterday, to be honest about it, was it was originally named the Coral C, but President Truman ordered that it be renamed the Roosevelt in honor of Franklin D. Roosevelt. And the picture I just gave you shows Harry Truman with the 2 fleet admirals aboard the Roosevelt in 46. I came on it, of course, in the end of 52, beginning of 53.
Where was it stationed when you were aboard?
Newport, Rhode Island. And interestingly enough, a friend of mine who was in the class after me, but went through and became a naval officer, when I came aboard, lo and behold, I saluted, and this was his friend of mine. And he apparently knew about my story, that I had not completed the program, and sort of grimaced at me as if to say, "You got the better deal than I did." Now the interesting thing is, and this is why when I originally called about this program, I said that I didn't do anything which was extraordinary, and I didn't know if you wanted to hear my story, but you just said, maybe. When I came aboard the ship, they weren't quite sure what to do with me because the full complement from clerical administration was taken. So what happened was, here's a Jewish boy who became the chaplain to the Catholic and Protestant chaplains aboard the Roosevelt. And we had perhaps a handful of Jewish boys at all. And as an additional duty, I became the ship's librarian. And this is a little story about what I did in this little newsletter. And I've been loath to tell my story because, you know, friends of mine served combat and everything. But I come to the realization that it was the luck of the draw that I didn't go to Korea, and I wasn't in the Army, but I happened to go to the Navy, was willing to do anything that the Navy wanted me to do, and wound up being the ship's librarian and the chaplain, which I guess in and of itself was interesting. For example, in the first few months, one of the lieutenant commander, squadron commander, who I became very fond of, who chatted a lot about books, borrowed a book one day, and the next day he was gone. He was lost in the training exercise, and that really affected me very much to think that this person that I had, who probably served in World War II, I never found it out, which was lieutenant commander, and I guess he was regular Navy. The other important thing might have been, you know, rumors float around continuously aboard the ship. Understand the juxtaposition. The Korean War was winding down. Here we were on this Mediterranean cruise. And the scuttlebutt aboard the ship was that we were going to go through the Suez Canal and go to Korea. And wow. But as it turned out, that would never have materialized because the draft of the ship was too large to have gone through the Suez Canal. And as I read yesterday, just replenishing my thoughts, what also happened, we were supposed to dock someplace in Turkey, but there was a water problem. And so they had to rescind that possibility. And so actually we went back home on schedule. That was a 6-month cruise. And when we came back, the ship was going to be decommissioned in Puget Sound, Washington, because they had to adjust the jets. The Roosevelt was one of the first aircraft carriers that had jets. They were not attuned to the times. And the situation was that it would go around South America, and that would have been a great cruise. But it said that you have to have more than 3 months remaining in the Navy. I didn't. So I didn't make that cruise. And then I eventually went to Quonset Point, Rhode Island, and then was discharged back in Brooklyn.
So it sounds like you sailed to the Mediterranean.
Yeah.
Sailed around the Mediterranean for a while.
Yes.
And came back.
Yeah. Yes, that was a 6-month cruise, and that was the last cruise before it was restructured and Puget Sound. Ultimately, it went on. It was finally decommissioned and sold for scrap in 1977 or 1977. But one other interesting thing on that cruise is we landed in Beirut, Lebanon, which was a different world in those days. That was the second Paris at that time. It was the citadel of fast movers of that day. And then, while there, they offered a little tour to Damascus, Syria. So I spent a few hours in Damascus, Syria.
Did you get to Israel?
Not on that cruise.
Oh, not
Subsequently, 7 times because my son's a rabbi, but not on that cruise.
So as the ship's chaplain, What did you do?
Well, chaplain's assistant.
Okay.
There was a, well, that's interesting. I had to help set up for the masses. What did I know about mass? I didn't know very much. But I learned on-the-job training. The interesting thing is the senior chaplain was the Catholic chaplain. Now, in all honesty, I would have to say he was a very haughty Bostonian. The Protestant chaplain was a different breed of human being. Those two fellows did not get along. That's putting it mildly. So I had to be aware sometimes of the dialogue between the
Did
two.
you get along with?
Yeah, I got along with him. I preferred the Protestant chaplain. He was a much nicer person. And then we had a contingent of Marines aboard the ship who participated. Oh, I might add, guess how many people served on that ship at one time? Take a guess.
1,500?
Close to 4,000. I originally told my wife a lesson number when I reviewed my notes for today. A complement of about 32 to 3,300 men and maybe 400 officers, bringing it up to close to 4,000. What I read yesterday, it's an enormous ship. The height of it was the height of the Chrysler Building in New York City. And I never got to, quite frankly, because I only served close to it, I never got to see most of the ship. And one day, I brought my wife, we weren't married yet, but I brought my wife on the ship, and I brought her a place that I said, I think this is how I get here. I was sort of embarrassed that I really didn't know my way around the ship. I never went underneath the ship.
So where was your area on the ship?
Well, we had administrative offices for all the clerical duty, the personnel were
they in the tower?
not in the tower, below the tower, on the main deck, a little close to the main deck. The other thing was, now that I think of it, what was difficult for me, and I had very sensitive ears, we didn't have earplugs in the warming of the jets on the deck. I think to this day I have a little hearing problem due to the loud noises on the deck. You couldn't avoid it. So I feel sorry for the people who actually were on the flat deck because they were subjected to noise all the time. And I forgot if they had earplugs. They probably did.
Probably.
They probably did.
So while you were, I guess you're on maneuvers, are they flying every day?
Not every day. Strategically, they were on maneuvers. Sometimes we were called to the flight deck to watch these maneuvers. The idea was that the ship was there as part of the Sixth Fleet in case there were any emergencies that arose. And as I say, the juxtaposition of the winding down of the Korean War and where we were, the idea was that it was conceivable that the ship might be deployed from Europe to Korea.
So when the Korean War ended, were you still in the Navy or?
The Korea, I just reviewed my notes the other day. The war never ended. There was an armistice in 53, which I think still stands today.
It does.
And that was in summer of 53. We were still on our cruise, and that was the reason why the thought was that we might go to Korea. But then that was abandoned, and then we came home. And as a matter of fact, I think we came home a bit earlier, but the amount of time you had to serve was reduced by 2 months because they didn't need as many personnel.
Right.
I guess that's the war wound down in Korea.
So were you hoping to go to Korea?
No, you mean hoping while I was in the Navy?
Right.
No, I was perfectly happy to enjoy the Renaissance in Europe. I mean, look, let's be honest. You're patriotic to the extent that you want to do and serve honorably in whatever facet you want. But given the choice between being in Korea and being in the Mediterranean, that was a no-brainer for me to be in the Mediterranean. And we stopped at several ports. From a sociological point of view, I might point out, the reason I brought this picture is there were very, very few blacks or Hispanics aboard the ship in those days. And I cultivated the friendship of this young man, I forgot his name and everything, even brought him to a synagogue in Gibraltar, which was a mistake because the Torah was in French and Hebrew, and I don't speak French. So I brought him with me, and I wonder what he thought when he saw me totally confused. And on another trip, we did take several trips. One notable trip was Athens, Piraeus. And then I went eventually up to Salonika, northern part of Greece, which was very interesting. We went to the French Riviera. We went to the eastern coast of Italy, Bari, which is not the part of Italy that most tourists go to, the western part. So that was very pleasant, and they made it their business to organize trips. So, you see, it's a non-combatant sort of situation. That's why when you interview, whoever did the interview, Joe Diamond, World War II, a very good friend of mine, you know, he went through hell. Through the luck of the draw, I didn't. And that's why I was reluctant to come originally, because I thought the honor should go to the World War II veterans. But I guess I played my own role.
Everybody's got their own story, and you've got it exactly right. It's the luck of the draw. And I think that's one of the things we're finding out too.
Yeah.
Is that some people, the guy we interviewed last week, whose name I don't remember. I mean, he was, yes, he was assigned to a ship that took forever just to get commissioned. And by the time he was commissioned, it had sailed to Europe and the war ended.
Yeah.
So they sent him to Japan, but by the time they got to Japan, that war had ended.
Sure. Now, for example, if the senior dentist had not certified me, and therefore I would have been rejected from the program, I would have probably wound up in the Army, could have very well have wound up in Korea, and be on the memorial in Atlantic City for the Korean veterans.
So when you came home, what did you do?
I married her. Yesterday we celebrated our 59th anniversary.
Congratulations.
My parents were immigrants from Europe. Neither one of them went beyond the 6th grade. My mother was barely literate. She was a wonderful woman, very intelligent woman. Always wanted me to be a teacher, so I could have the security.
Where were they from?
Poland, the old Austrian-Hungarian Empire prior to World War I, which was Poland. Well, eventually I went on and I got my master's in education. I got my doctorate in education from NYU. I taught on the high school level, and I was an adjunct professor at a Catholic college right next to the military academy, which was very interesting because this was the first group of blue-collar workers' daughters who had an opportunity to go to college. And one of the reasons they went there was to wind up marrying West Pointers, which did occur. So
how'd you end up in Cherry Hill?
my son was a rabbi in one of the local congregations, of course, you know. And we came down about 6 years ago, and he ultimately got something else, and he's in northern New Jersey now. But we've loved looking at Cherry Hill. Accessibility to Philadelphia, everything that offers, accessibility to all kinds of things, Magic City, things like that. So that's what brought us down there.
So I guess my only other question would be if you have anything to, like if you were to sum up your military career.
It was a very fortuitous opportunity. Look, we were breathing hard. I graduated from City College in June of 1951. I was not quite sure what do I do with myself because the inevitability of the draft was, and I forgot what number I had in the draft. So I started with this master's degree in public administration and while you are having a job and working. Still worried, when was I going to be drafted? When was I going to go on to service? And then fortuitously the opportunity to get to the Navy, that option that I explained to you before. So I would say that all things considered, I'm extremely lucky. Things went my way. I, in a way, regret that I didn't complete the office of captain school, but then again, I realized that others would make them naval officers than me. I didn't think that I was particularly talented in that area, and to have served for an additional 3.5 years in that capacity, I did not think served the Navy well or served. But all told, I did what I could.
It sounded like it was a good experience.
It was a wonderful experience for me. I mean, where else would I have gone up and down the Mediterranean? And I had some memorable experiences. For example, in Piraeus, when we had the report for Athens, I took a little trip on my own to Salonika. Now, if I just may tell you, Salonika was one of the great Jewish citadels in Europe. It was the only city in Europe I found out that had more than 50% of its population Jewish. No, very few people know that. And I went up there to just find out something about it, and found out that most of the population was destroyed by the Nazis. There was one rabbi left out of 8 or 10, and he was not available. He was on vacation. So it was a disappointing experience. But where else would I have had the opportunity to have made that journey? And that's when you get a history teacher, and you know, as you your graduate work, all things history means something.
But by the way, the Nazis were particularly brutal in Greece.
Yeah.
That you don't hear about.
Yeah, you don't hear about that. The highest percentage of Jews that were killed was Holland, somewhere in the neighborhood of 95%. But my naval experience was wonderful, and to follow that tradition, that other picture I gave you was so memorable. The one I just want to show it to you again. This one, just stop and think. 2 5-star admirals aboard the boat, the 2 senior naval heroes, iconic figures, aboard with President Truman to rename the Coral Sea, which was a midway-type carrier, to rename that in honor of Roosevelt, who was a hero. I mean, I didn't even know until yesterday about this, but I was on that ship, so, you know, from a historical point of view, I may have been a little tiny cog in something, but this is a memorable part of American history.
So when was the ship decommissioned?
It was finally totally decommissioned in 1977. I read that sold for scrap.
So it spent time in Vietnam, I'm sure.
Did it go to Vietnam? That's an interesting
I think the
question.
Sixth Fleet was in Vietnam.
Yeah, it might have been. It might have
was
been.
out
Yeah, I
China
lost
City.
track of that. I did go to the. Oh, this is interesting. They had, I read yesterday, 22 reunions. I went to one in Frederick, Maryland, but I hardly knew anybody.
I was going to say,
Hardly
see
nobody
anybody
from the
there?
ship that I was, when I served. I mean, these were people who had served from 46 on through the 70s. So, this definitely is part of Americana, and the story I'm telling you is more about the ship than me.
All right, well, it was interesting. Everybody's little piece is interesting.
Right. Sure, so I hope this makes a contribution of some sort.
Absolutely. I mean, I talked to my dad, who was also in the Navy. I mean, he's passed away now, but I used to talk to him all the time. And he never saw action either, but, you know, just, you get some ideas about what it was like. You know, most of the time he was bored out of his skull. Just because
You know,
you're on
the
ship.
people in the administrative department, I particularly remember a very nice red-headed fellow who's very popular, very well liked by everybody. And I had a conversation. He came from a rural part of Colorado. I mean, a small town. He told me he had to go 100 miles to go to a movie. And I was just flabbergasted. Here's a kid from Brooklyn, urban area, in the same compound as this fellow from rural Colorado. And I got a real feel for what it was like to have lived in rural Colorado, say during World War II.
You wouldn't have gotten that anywhere else other than
No how, nowhere could I have had that experience. He was a particularly fine person to begin with.
So I think one of the things that we're seeing also, talking to all of you guys, is that there's definitely a growing up and a change of life. Even if you didn't see action, your life was never the same. I mean,
Absolutely,
certainly.
absolutely. Well, for example, I had always, as I told you before, my parents, particularly my mother, always encouraged me to find the occupation that would give me security and benefits of being fully employed in America. And there was no question that I would go on to further education. And of course, having the GI Bill, I got my master's and my doctorate at practically no cost. And so you asked me, did I benefit by the service personally? Absolutely. And, you know, I hope that veterans of today get the full benefits. But by and large, the crew was a nice cross-section. It wasn't close to 4,000 people on one ship. I'll tell you one little thing I never told you before, because my wife probably thinks I'm talking too much. At breakfast time, one of the things they served were baked beans, which I love beyond belief, and everybody would push me ahead. I mean, here I was in the back, and then all of a sudden I'd be swept because they all knew I liked that, and I would eat it every day. And most of these fellows would endure it because they just care for it. So that's a little trivia of nothing, but it was interesting.
How was the food?
Good. Good. And then you could buy all kinds of things on the ship. I'll tell you one thing also, the mail's so cheap. Postcards were, my wife sent me a postcard, it was a 3-cent postcard. She was a senior in college, and I have to admit to you that I helped write her term papers in political science while I was aboard the ship. So she owes me something.
So I used to hear stories that there was a lot of sports going on aircraft.
Yeah, we played
Basketball,
particularly-
boxing.
Yeah, a lot of basketball. And very often it was Marines playing in the Navy. The Marines had their own private. I have actually a picture of a Marine being on it on the ship. Yeah, this.
So
This was the ship's newspaper. This very distinguished Marine. You get all kinds of medals. I was surprised when I looked at that. This was a very nice publication that was done over here.
Over 4,000 guys. That's the size of
Yeah.
a small column.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. This is a wonderful full publication. So that's about it.
Any questions, anything to add? Anything to add?
One little short story. When the ship came into New York, we were not engaged, but we had been going with each other for a while. And when it came into New York, Rudy said, "Would you like to see the ship?" Well, sure. And he said, "And I'm going to ask my mother to come too." So here I was, and I was going to meet his mother and go on the ship. So in those days, you got dressed with a suit and a hat and gloves, very formal. And we get on this ship, and there were no elevators, and you had to climb these ladders all the way to get any place, and I was with high heels and a hat and gloves. And I don't think I got very far on that ship, but I did get to meet my future mother-in-law, and everybody approved of everybody, and here we are 59 years
It
later.
all worked out.
Yeah.
It's great.
Right.
All right, well, thank you very much.
Thank
My
you.
pleasure. So what's the